See you playing that soft like knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you. Martin, I can remember when we played the summer and you played fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight and watched you look out in the weight room. And you saw me pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to take it and I learned that so sometimes fast. Look at the mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show fan page can also be viewed at Martin Houston Live on Facebook and YouTube. Also, you can check us out at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. Also, I know there'll be some of you joining us at Tide 109 or on Tide 109 on Facebook and X's and O's Sports podcast. We're glad to have you as a part of the Martin Houston Show. I want to thank Joe and Mason for yesterday and thank all of you for being a part of the program. We want to keep the conversation rolling right here on this Wild Card Wednesday. What's up, Wednesday? We want to invite you in on the conversation at 205 342 9904 205 342 9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Give us a call. Love to hear your thoughts, your comments, your ideas on the topics of the day. And if you have something that you want to talk about, that you want to get out there over the airwaves, get some other people thinking along the same lines as you are, then you're welcome to call us or add your comments on chat. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. We also want to take a little time and thank God that yesterday's weather wasn't as bad as anticipated, and so but for any of those who were impacted to any degree, we pray for them as well. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, doing well. How are you?
Good. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing good, doing good. How about yourself?
Doing well, man. I mean, I've been out of pocket since since the weekend, so really haven't been with being out of town, hadn't been able to keep up with stuff as much as normal. So you guys may have to catch me up on what I missed. I've tried to keep up with it as much as possible, but no doubt changes happen on the capstone around our basketball program, football in full swing, and of course we have our other sports as they continue to wrap up their seasons or get their into the meat of their schedule. So in and everything is up for conversation on this Wild Card Wednesday. But X, I'll talk to you. Is the foundation crumbling on the basketball program? Is Nate Oates having a little runoff? And should we read much into Quinterly not returning, the younger Quinterly transferring, and then of course a couple other guys jumping into the portal, reportedly jumping into the portal? Should Alabama fans begin to have some concerns over things, or is this just par for the course for when you have when you have high expectations, they don't pan out, and you're bringing in some juggernauts? Is this par for the course?
Uh, I think it can be viewed as par for the course when you look at the recruiting class Alabama has coming in. you can always say, well, some of these guys that didn't live up to expectations, didn't trust the process, so to say. Uh, you can always see a little bit of an exodus. You saw that with the football team this year. Some guys such as Jaleel Billingsley, who you expected to have a great season, didn't live up to that expectation, and now that's why he's at Texas. And uh, other circumstances for guys such as a Drew Sanders and players like that, on top of what you're able to bring in, and this recruiting class Alabama has coming in has the opportunity to be really special. It could be that it can truly, with the number of guys that we got and the level, this could be the start of the 2009, 2010 Alabama football classes that really changed the culture and took it to the next level for Alabama.
Joe, any comments on that?
Oh, I mean, I just think the exodus is. I mean, you look at the guys who have left so far: Chiku, Ambrose Hilton, the younger Quinterly. Those three guys. I mean, they weren't really seeing their opportunities here anyway. So you just see kind of guys realize that there may not be a cultural and a schematic fit in the program.
Yeah, and that's why on Monday the question was asked of me, how does Nate Oates fix it? And I said it's going to be roster turnover, uh, and so sometimes this is players jumping, sometimes it's coaches uh, helping players jump. So, and we don't know which one it is yet. But as you say, these were guys who had high expectations that we had high expectations for. But injury one year and virtually no spot on any rotation depth at all, um, for some of them, for Chiku and of course Hilton. I mean, so is it? We'll talk a little deeper on that, but we do have a phone call waiting. Curtis Lewis, you in with the Martin Houston Show? What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, fellas, yeah, I agree on that. Y'all point on the basketball team there. I do think that not only roster turnover, but they know has got to learn how to coach the players he's got. So sometimes your system that you love so much does not fit the people you got on your team at that point. So you got to coach what they do best. I mean, if Saban done that, then Saban has many champions he's got now by not changing based on the players he's got. So
Yeah.
you see him do that practically every year, and I just think that's something they don't got to do. When your threes aren't falling, your dribble drive ain't working, you got to have a mid-court game at some point in time. I mean, you got to be able to put that ball in the basket and go for those 2 points instead of 3.
I showed your comments to someone yesterday when I was flying back home from the game, when you said the three isn't falling, and the teams have figured out that we will not take a mid range shot. So if we play a team that has a rim protector, then they guard the 3-point line and leave a big down low to stop the layup, and that's kind of the end of our offense. And this guy, he didn't coach, but he was a coach's son, and this coach played, at State and was a longtime high school coach who really knew the game. Back in the days, put it like this, he said he couldn't he wouldn't be able to coach today because he teaches too much fundamental basketball. But anyway, but he said the same thing. He said that pretty much sums it up. Guard the 3-point line, put a big down low to stop three, because Coach Oates didn't adjust. Anything else? I agree with you on that. You have to coach what you have. If you think you recruited to your system and you hadn't, you have to have you have to have a fallback. You can't have, well, I guess you can, because he went through this whole year and it was 3 or die, and we died. So
Yeah, we died miserably on that hill. But I want to call and ask you and Xavier though. Now we heard William Anderson and we heard Bryce the other day when they addressed the media, and William Anderson feels that we're going to have a much better defense this year than we had last year. But we've heard this for the last 2 years, and I know we got players who have been there consistently for the last 2 years. But what do you see that's going to be different to make us better, other than just maturity? Because we were the mature team last year, really defensively. We had some good players out there who knew the game. But what can we do that's going to make a huge difference this coming year as opposed to next year?
That mean,
I don't think we're going to have the players like those dogs that Georgia had on that front line. I don't think we got those kind of players. But I do think we could be a formidable defense, but we'll have to change.
X, I'll let you go, and then I'll comment.
Yeah, well, I'll say this about last year's team. There were hidden injuries that did hamper it. You know, Armar Davis and Joe played the majority of the season hampered and hurt, and it cost us down the stretch, especially when some of the younger guys like a Kyrie Jackson and Kool-Aid McKinstry still didn't get a ton of reps until the end of the year. So there's a little bit of that. You add the guy that was leading the defense was only there for a few months in Toto, even though he did end up putting up really good numbers throughout the course of the year. And you look at that, the D line to me was probably the most consistent group. But now you add a Dallas Turner on the other side, opposite of Will Anderson, who I think is clearly a better pass rusher than what we had with Drew Sanders or Chris Allen last year. So he has the game experience and is more experienced as a whole. And you have Eli Ricks coming in to hopefully lock down one of those cornerback positions. So I think it is a lot of experience. I think this group has the chance to be more talented just with who we have playing certain positions. Of course you have to replace Christian Harris and you have to replace Phil Mathis, but I do believe this team, just because of who we have in certain spots, has the opportunity to be as good, especially with Will coming back, with Toto coming back, and with Battle coming back. You have three proven leaders at every level on your defense.
Yeah, and Curtis, I would say I think this defense can be better than last year, and part of it to some of the reasons that Xavier said. I think Kool-Aid McKinstry after a sprain, Eli Rick, if he comes back the way he was before, boom, I think we have an instant upgrade at corner. I think our DBs. In terms of our safeties are going to be as good as we've been in a while with all of that experience coming back. And I think outside linebackers are just going to be, off the charts. My concern, and I think this is the question you're asking, is part of what made Georgia so good is they weren't. I don't think they're as talented anywhere that I've named so far. Okay. But on that D line and up the middle, they were. And that's the question that I still have, Curtis, that would have me have a little bit of concern is even though Mathis wasn't this, flashy guy, man, he was super, super consistent. I don't know who takes his spot yet. And then Christian Harris, same thing up the middle. So you were stout up the middle. And so one of these young linebackers have to step up big time beside Toa because I think he'll be even better. But who's going to be, Robin to his Batman? And then what are we going to do? And so I think, Curtis, that you're going to see us do a lot of movement. I think you're going to see us do more stuff where people can't line up in power rushes. And fortunately, football has changed enough that there aren't a lot of the old LSU's and Georgia's running styles. But I think you'll see this defense have to do some movement and some angle changes and moving Will Anderson and make people have to block our guys at an angle, not just head on. Because I don't think we're going to be stout up the middle potentially unless a couple of young guys come along.
Now, let me ask you this. Let's say we don't have our starters. We don't have our. We know that what happened last season was we didn't play enough players. So therefore, when it's time for the other players to come in for whatever reason, for injury or for performance, whatever they had to come in, they came in so late in the season, they weren't ready. They weren't seasoned at that point. Do you think we're going to have that problem again, or you think Saban's learn from this stuff?
Well,
like you said last year, he has that pro mentality. So he only going to play somebody else unless somebody else either got shot or hurt for whatever reason. So that backup's not getting to that game.
Well, I think based on what from the offensive side of the ball last year, Curtis, he made it sound like it was the players' fault. I'm not sure what happened on defense. I think defense actually rotated more guys from that group that I'm worried about. And I think with Will Anderson's depth, even Chris Braswell got some depth. So I think for the most part, we'll get more depth in. And I hadn't seen anything change. So I don't think there's going to be this big, huge depth rotation because that's just not Saban's style. So you still have that concern if it gets to a depth issue or young players issue, in my opinion.
We never did see much out of Burrows or Latham on that defensive line after the first 1 or 2 games. It's like those guys just disappeared.
Yep.
And they would have been effective. So you've been playing those guys throughout the season, would have got better and better. Because Burrows had a lot of upside, and Latham had a lot of upside too. Especially in inside tackle position.
Yep.
So we didn't see him anymore.
Right, and so I if I was a betting man, I would say if we had multiple injuries in our interior line, we'd be young just like we ended up last year. I unless it happened early in the season, I just don't. He that's been his style since he's been here. He doesn't play a extreme amount of depth, Curtis, and I unless he has a coaching. Unless the coaches on his staff have convinced him in the offseason to change that rotation, maybe. Now I will say our defensive linemen we did rotate those guys probably more than anyone, but not as much as I think we could have, being how we were blowing people out. All right, yeah. Well,
Young should have played more.
Who?
Byron Young, he should have played more. He should have been our most active defensive lineman outside of Mathis.
Yeah, and that's who. That's who Curtis Moore II said he thinks is going to take that Mathis role is Young.
I definitely can see that.
And I think he is a disruptive type of player who could have one of those seasons like we've seen where an Alabama guy, you see flashes of him, and then when he becomes a man, he all of a sudden shoots up to a first, second rounder. I think Young may be that player, and that'll be yet to be seen. Yes, yet to be seen, but I think he is definitely a candidate for that. I'm going to tell you a kid I watched in high school that didn't get on the field last year, and I don't know if he was injured or what, but a powerful player, and that's the kid from Birmingham, Trustful, Hueytown, Keenan. So watch him as a kid that could make some noise. So
Tim Keenan.
Keenan, yep, watch him. So, but he's young. So what do you expect? Anything else, Curtis, before I let you go, man?
Grantham, you think Grantham's going to have a big effect on our front seven?
Well, that's why I said the movement stuff. That's why I said that may be what we do to offset, not being because when you take everything but our middle, I think we're going to be as good as we've been in a long, long time at Alabama. And so, but I think movement and stuff like that. I don't be surprised that they don't take Will Anderson, because if you're watching film on Will Anderson this offseason, you're trying to figure out how I stop that guy. And so don't be surprised if a guy like Grantham, we don't use run blitzes and movement to help our run stop game versus just size and power.
Yeah. All right.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the question,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right. Coming back on the other side, we'll continue that conversation. You can get in on it as well. If you have a topic you'd like for us to dig into, give us a call at 205-342-9904 or post your comment or your question on Facebook and we'll bring it into the conversation. You listen to the Martin Houston Show, the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. We do it every day, Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 because of great sponsors like Overflow Express Wash, Alabama One Insurance, Taco Casa, and we'd like to add you to that roster. Shoot me an email at martin@martinhouston.org if you'd like to join a winning lineup.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we have a serious wreck 2059 westbound near exit 32 in Bowling involving an overturned vehicle. The interstate is closed westbound at this time. Exit onto Alabama 14 at Utah to US 11 to avoid the problem. Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection of new cars, trucks, SUVs, and they really need your trade. You'll save thousands. I'm Captain Ray.
Power Penny Days are back just in time for spring at JCPenney, and a new season brings spectacular savings. Stock up on essentials for your wardrobe and your home through Sunday. Power Penny Days are back.
Work is a part of all of us. Working drives us to push beyond what we thought was imaginable and allows us to come together again for the things that really matter. That's why the Alabama Department of Labor and the Alabama Career Center system is here to help you discover bigger opportunities than ever before. Visit your local career center or alabamaworks.alabama.gov. Funding provided by the USDOI, PTA, and Federal WIOA, the Equal Opportunity Employer Program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request. Brought to you by the station, the Alabama Broadcasting Association.
Do you have chronic joint pain like in your knees and hips? It's time to think about an exciting new way to treat joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions. I'm talking about QC Kinetics, now available here. Hey, it's Gary Harris. Lots of people here have called QC Kinetics already. They are the nation's leader in helping people deal with chronic pain with no surgery, no drugs, no steroids, and no downtime. These natural pain treatments can actually repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints with long-lasting results. I'm telling you, biologic solutions help your body heal itself. If you have joint pain due to arthritis, lower back pain, shoulder pain, you need to change the way you think about pain treatments and discover the biologic therapies at QC Kinetics. Get moving again. Get your life back with no surgery and no drugs. Call QC Kinetics now to learn more at 205-686-1941. That's 205-686-1941. If you have joint pain due to arthritis, lower back pain, shoulder pain, you need to change the way you think about pain treatments and discover the biologic therapies at QC Kinetics. 205-686-1941. Get real pain relief today.
At BMW of Tuscaloosa, the complete lineup of the ultimate driving machine is at the heart of everything we do. But we're also much more. We're your go-to dealer for high-quality, dependable used cars, trucks, and SUVs, and your go-to dealer for quick, easy financing. Incomparable BMWs? We've got them. Quality used vehicles? We've got them. Affordable payment plans? We've got them. BMW of Tuscaloosa's commitment.
Sunny both days, highs between 65 and 68, and Saturday is sunny day with a high at 67. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 59 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith at Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmartdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904. Tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Yeah, that's huge. For me, me and OB are really close. on and off the field. So for him to be back, it's huge for me. It's another year of us kind of, the first year, there's always when people are first, in this sport, when people first, come together, you have to fill each other out. And, you have to understand from both of our sides, what we like, what we don't like, kind of just our philosophies individually. I feel like now we're always on the same page, and for us to kind of continue that and push that relationship forward, it's super exciting for me. So I'm super happy that I get another year with OB, that he'll be back, and I'm excited for the growth of this offense as a whole.
Wow. Hey, and I know this is in today's culture, it's not that big a deal. I could not imagine calling my coach LK or coach GS. But anyway, that's a sidebar. But anyway, that was Bryce Young talking about Coach O'Brien. Calls him OB. All right. Uh, but I played that because I think my next caller, um, I had to have a reason why OB is still on staff. Alan, you're in with the Martin Houston Show with X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston. What's on your mind, sir?
Find yourself, Smokey. He's still there.
Hey,
You gotta find yourself.
hey, listen. I had the producer play that so I could tell you the reason he's still there is because Bryce Young and I talked, and he told me, said, give him one more year, Martin. We're working through some things and we're figuring some things out, so it's going to be better.
I don't know about that one. If Bryce was in there, I guess we'll hang on to him for a little while, a little longer. But you gotta find yourself, Smokey. You gotta find yourself.
Hey, Alan, he's young. He may not know any better, though.
This is true. This is so true. This is so true. My question is this: what do you think chances we have of getting the Manning kid? And if we did get him, would that not hurt us as far as quarterback cover? We do have a good quarterback coming in, Milrose behind him, and another quarterback with also another quarterback. Because Manning, we know for a fact, with his pedigree, he's not going to sit and wait on nobody. He thinks he's going to play from day one, like his uncle did. So, what do you think the chances of us getting him, and do you think it would hurt us in the long run?
X, I'll let you respond first, and then I'll go.
Well, the funny thing is, Peyton and Eli didn't start from day one. Peyton didn't start the first, half of his freshman season, Dad?
Yeah.
I'm a little too young to remember that. And then Eli redshirted. So, I mean,
different culture, though.
Don't get me wrong. I think Arch Manning is going to come in and fight for a job and compete for a job, and the other guys are going to have to hold the ball. But
I think it's a different culture too, X. Back when those guys came, they weren't going to go somewhere and sit out a year. Now, if a kid doesn't play, they can leave and they don't have to wait.
But why would he even have Texas? If Quinn Ewers is what everybody expects him to be, Texas shouldn't even be on his list. Because if Quinn Ewers is what we expect him to be, he's not going to beat out Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, well, we saw that he doesn't have much dog and fight in him because he went to school 1 year early and then quickly transferred out.
True.
So,
True. But no, I mean, I'm confident in Milroe. I'm confident in Simpson, regardless of whoever wins the job after Bryce is gone, or I'm confident in whoever we sign in the 2023 class. Saban has not missed at quarterback very often in terms of the guys that we've seen take the field and be the guy as the starter. That's the reason why he's played for 9 national championships with Blake Sims is the only start quarterback that he's had that hasn't played in a national championship game.
Yep. And how many repeat starters has he had? So
Tua, Greg,
Tua.
AJ, Tua, and Bryce.
No, I'm talking about in the championship game. So, yeah. So,
AJ's the only one.
Yep. So, but to your point, Alan, I do think Alabama's uh, a legit shot, has a legit shot, and we'll ask that question specifically just to see if anything's changed with Hank South on tomorrow. But he seems to think Alabama's right in the mix for him, um, and and to your point, I do think you're right. It is possible that Arch Manning could hurt Alabama in terms of who's here now. In other words, I think it's very possible that if Arch Manning commits, Bryce is going to be gone, and I think you'll have a battle for it next spring if he comes in early, and one, if not both of those guys, will leave after the spring if Arch is in the league. Is that kind of what you were asking?
That's exactly what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have both of them leave, you have no backup.
Yep.
And you got a true freshman that ain't been tested yet.
Yep.
That really does hurt because Milroe, as gifted as he is, because he can play any position. If we need him to, we can go out there and play defensive back.
Right.
He can punt, he can kick the man, he can do a punt return, he can play wide out, he can do all these different things. And I would hate to lose a player of that caliber because we got a quarterback in there that's not proven yet. Well, Milroe's not proven either, but he's been there.
That's why I think that
he's his time.
Alan, what I think you'll see Alabama do to potentially cushion that is I think you'll see Milroe have a role in this offense this year with a Heisman Trophy uh, quarterback, which would translate into, hey, you're going to have a role with us no matter if you lose the job to Ty next year, or if Arch Manning comes in, you still going to have a role. If I was a coach and I was trying to get an Arch Manning, then I would make sure that Milroe knows that we will make a role for him even when we got Bryce Young, so that he knows that even if next year rolls around, he can still have a role that gives him an opportunity to still compete. I mean, there's no way I don't play that kid next year to try to get him, connected with this program. And if you start watching Saban start going after some transfers, you'll have a feel for what he thinks. Anything else, Alan, before I let you go?
Okay, well, I agree with that. So, but what happens to this? If he does get to play a role, how does that translate into him going to the NFL? But that's the ultimate dream, is for him to go to the NFL. Just a role is not going to put him in a position to go to the NFL, but you just can't have a role in the NFL. You got to have something, you have a position.
Well,
how does that translate there?
No, I'm saying I was just talking about into next year where he doesn't immediately leave. Like I think coming out of spring, you would have him still competing, because I don't think Saban will name a starter coming out of spring next year, no matter how good Arch Manning, Ty, or Milroe. I think all three of those would go into. But as players, you'll know whether or not you're the guy that's the third man out, and so that was more of what would happen with him. I think if Arch Manning were to become the starter, or Ty were to become the starter down into next season, Allen, that he would still end up leaving, even if he had a role going into his, he still have 2 years of eligibility left.
Okay.
No, he'll have 3.
No, I'm saying if he plays this year and then he comes back next year and stays on the team.
In 2023?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Alan, I got to get the break here. I appreciate you being part of the conversation. And it looks like we're going to have to hold on to O'Brien because Bryce likes him.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that I won't be on him all season though. All right, come back on the other side. Sounds good. We'll get Pat in. If you want to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 205-342-9904. Alabama1.org is where you can go to find out about all the great promotions that's happening at Alabama 1. As we wrap up the first quarter, we're still in our slow down your interest rate promotion. And you can find out more about that by clicking on one of the banners, whether it's for our credit card balance transfer or our home equity line of credit special offer. Both of those giving you some special rates, local servicing, no origination fee, closing costs, or up to 100% financing on the home equity line of credit, and zero balance transfer fees, zero annual fees, and zero interest for 6 months on that balance transfer amount and cash back rewards. Either one of those will help slow down your interest rates. Go to alabama1.org and find out if you qualify. We're helping a lot of people and we'd like to help you. That's alabama1.org, one together.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we have a serious wreck 2059 westbound near exit 32 in Bowling, involving an overturned vehicle. The interstate is closed westbound at this time. Exit onto Alabama 14 at Utah to US 11 to avoid the problem. Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection of new cars, trucks, SUVs, and they really need your trade. You'll save thousands. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, it's double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
How do you make the most of your mow? Tony and Melissa do it on a John Deere Z530M Z-Track mow.
Jump out of the house, a cup of coffee, and I'm at work.
You're riding around, it's like going on a go-kart. And for Ronnie, he uses his John Deere X350 lawn tractor to turn his yard into
a happy place. It's a great place to do Tai Chi. I work on my mind, body, and well-being.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your mow. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
Has the pandemic affected your business? Even with more and more customers going online in the past 5 years, online business has grown greatly due to the pandemic. Now more than ever, it's important to have a strong online presence so that customers can find your business and products easily. That's where Townsquare comes in to help. Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free competitive analysis to see how your business stands up to the competition. And if you're one of the first to sign up, you'll get $500 in free advertising on this radio station. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn which we can customize, meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Yeah, great conversation thus far this morning. Curtis Lewis also asking a couple questions, or making a question and statement. We may get to who has more rushing yards this year, Bryce or Milroe. That's a great question, and a statement. You know, we were talking about Arch Manning with Allen on that last call, and Curtis Lewis said that he had heard Archie wants Arch to go where he can redshirt. Now that throws another wrinkle into it, and I know that that's hard to believe that any kid would want to redshirt, but you know, a red shirt for me actually allowed me to stay around long enough for a national championship. Coach Curry actually called me into his office and said, "Hey, listen, you're good enough to play as a true freshman. The problem is that you won't get to play as much as you'd like." so, so I made the decision. He said, "You can redshirt, or you can, play it out." And I said, "Redshirt me," because I was thinking about that, that fifth year, and that fifth year ended up being a national championship year. Hey, let's bring in Pat. Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Martin. If this offense goes south, Ain't B is going to be putting pressure on Andy big time. You do understand that.
No, I do. I have no idea what you're talking about. What?
Ain't B being the boss. That and if she's not happy, coach is going to be getting it in both ears at nighttime. But look, I want to play back to go back to your defense in '92 where we had Curry and Copeland. We've got to have those true kind of bookends that you have had, and it looks like we should have them this year. And the defense, the only problem that I see is you had dogs at linebacker too. That anything that came up in that middle was stuffed because those bookends pushed everything toward the middle. To have a defense that had the kind of numbers that your defense had in '92 was incredible. Seems like to me it was La Tech was the only team that even scored 13 points on that defense. Is that not correct?
No, the La Tech. Yeah, La Tech was.
La Tech was the only team that held us for when it was 13-0.
Yeah, they held us as offensively 6-0, and that was David Palmer's return game. That he got a punt return for a touchdown. So.
Hey, who was the leading rusher against La Tech that year?
Fullback. That wore 35. Yeah, I had a couple games where I led the team in rushing. That I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing offensively, though.
They were both shut up.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is that defense. Though the one thing that defense had though was a fellow by the name of Brother Oliver. I think was running that defense, and we don't have anybody that's close to being that caliber. And
well, hey, we don't, but between, but maybe between, we have right now between coaches and analysts, we have like 4 defensive coordinators.
Yeah.
On this staff. So hopefully
you're you're telling me in this day of offense that we can generate the kind of numbers we did in 92 if, say, we have a national championship and go on to write it down?
I don't think that you generate those numbers, but I think you generate the equivalent of those numbers, Pat. I think that if you look at this defense, they have the ability, when you look at the gap of what the average points were per team, I think this team, per game, I think this defense has the potential to hold people below that average to the same level that the 92 defense held teams below that average if they gel. I'm not ready to say they're going to gel yet. There's a couple pieces I need to see. X, I'll let you go, and then we have to get the break.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pat. Go ahead,
Yeah,
X.
I mean, it's true that it'll be hard in today's era to replicate those exact numbers, but it doesn't mean you can't replicate the equivalent to that. And yeah, like we said earlier, it's that second inside linebacker position that people have questions about. I think it's going to be Jalen Moody. I think that's why he decided to leave the transfer portal. And who's that guy to replace Phil Mathis? And if it's a guy like Byron Young that, once again, we've seen those flashes of, I think Bama can be good. You still got Boyd be coming back. You still got DJ Dale. You still got Tim Smith, some of these younger guys that I feel like are going to be in the rotation more this year. I think that you get that second linebacker position filled, and you get that Phil Mathis replacement of just that consistent run stopper and occasional pass rusher. Alabama's defense will be good as long as everything gels everywhere else.
All right. Coming back on the other side, we'll put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we have a serious wreck 2059 westbound near exit 32 at Bowling involving an overturned vehicle. The interstate is closed westbound at this time. Exit onto Alabama 14 at Utah to US 11.
Just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curve series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curving. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curving, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curving can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. If you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curving at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curving LLC.
Hey, you! Ever wanted to learn a language like French or Spanish or even Norwegian, but thought it'd be too difficult or time-consuming? Then try Babbel. Quick 10-minute lessons.
Siesta.
Games, podcasts, even live online classes with a real teacher. Hola, clase. In no time, chatting about real-life topics will feel, well, effortless. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com.
Get lasting joint pain relief without surgery, without drugs, without downtime. New options are now available here. Regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Gary Harris talking about biologic therapies. This is the most exciting medical development in years. These remarkable regenerative treatments actually encourage your own body to help heal the damaged tissue in your joints.
Athletes have done this for years. Now it's available for folks like us. If you've been struggling with knee, back, shoulder, or hip pain, arthritis, pain of any kind, you need to check out this exciting natural alternative with incredible patient satisfaction reports. Restorative biologic therapies at QC Kinetics. Effective treatments for chronic joint pain with no drugs and no surgery. Call for a free consultation now. Learn about all the options available to help you get pain-free. Call now, 205-686-1941, 205-686-1941. This is the most exciting medical development in years. These remarkable regenerative treatments actually encourage your own body to help build the damaged tissue in your joints. That's 205-686-1941. QC Kinetics.
See America in your new Burton Campers RV. Be certain with Burton. Burton Campers at exit 231 on I-65 in Calera. Nobody sells RVs for less.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. We're getting ready to get things going with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries. Scotty is presented each and every week by Johnson and Marshall Dentistry. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Hey, good morning, Martin. I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing well. I'll toss it to you, man, to go ahead and encourage us on how we can incorporate our faith into the boardroom, classroom, or our chosen field of play.
Thank you, brother. Excited to be with you once again. This will be kind of wrapping up. I know we said we were kind of close to wrapping up our first things first. When you think about, we started a series at the beginning of the year saying, hey, let's focus on some things that really provide a foundation for the rest of the year, really the rest of our lives. We've called this series First Things First. We're calling it Building a Firm Foundation for Your Life. So we've looked at the bottom foundation, the very the best part of the foundation is Christ being the center. And we're talking about as believers in Christ being the center of your life. And what that looks like is basically surrendering your life to Christ, surrendering the throne of your life, meaning you getting off the throne, you deciding, I'm not going to call the shots anymore, I'm going to let him call the shots, and you kneeling at the foot of the throne for the rest of your life, submitting to the one who sits on the throne. The cool thing about that is when you surrender the throne, hey, you have given your life to Christ, all of your sins are forgiven, and so for the rest of your life, you live a life submit to him, and that life actually honors him. And so let's look at a couple things. We talked about as we seek to live that out, we want to make sure that we're spending time in God's word. And we talked about these becoming habits, knee-jerk habits, things that, hey, we're spending time in God's word every day. And that is, again, shaping us. We're spending time in prayer every single day and even throughout the day. And that's shaping us. We're spending time in fellowship with other Christians, connecting with other believers because they need us, we need them. We're spending time sharing Christ with with those who don't know Christ. Why? Because that's part of our mission. That's a huge part of our mission. When we do those things, here's the message today, then we, in a sense, walk as ambassadors for Christ. Now, I got a great passage for you. As you think about being an ambassador for Christ, here it is. We are therefore, talking about believers, we are therefore Christ's ambassadors. This is as though, now this is powerful, Martin. I don't want to get you preaching over there, but as though God were making his appeal through us. Hear that one more time. We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. Here's the appeal. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. All right. So how awesome is that we get a chance to be like ambassadors for Christ? I'm saying as we put first things first, Christ is the center. Spending time in his word, spending time in prayer, spending time with other believers, spending time sharing the gospel. I'm saying as we walk in those things, we set ourselves up to be really good ambassadors for Christ. Now I want you to think about what an ambassador really does and what he does and what he is. An ambassador is a representative. So if we had for all the U.S. ambassadors that we have in other countries, guess what? They're representatives of our country. So when people get a chance to meet those ambassadors, Mark, they say, oh, that's what America's like. He's like that. That's exactly what, okay, cool. So they get a good impression of us, or sometimes maybe a bad one. I would assume, Martin, I would assume that we've chosen really good ambassadors who represent us well. That's usually the way that works, right?
Right.
But you also think about a Bama athlete. A Bama athlete is a representative. They're an ambassador for this university. When people get a chance to know our athletes, guess what they say? Man, wow, they think more highly of our great university. Why? Because we choose every team, and I mean not just athletes, students, but when you are chosen to, come here, then you're an ambassador for this university. So when people get a chance to meet you, they say, "Oh, that's what Alabama athletes like," or "That's what Alabama football players like," or "That's what Alabama basketball players." They get a chance that you're the representative. And so what I want us to do is kind of connect those dots with what it means as a Christian to be an ambassador. And for all those who call yourself, who are believers, who say, "Man, I've given my life to Christ," understand that wherever you go, you're His ambassador. When you're at work, they're saying, "Oh, that's what a Christian's like. That's how he handles that situation." And so the question is, what message are they getting, Martin? Are they saying
That's right.
well? Are they saying that we're not handling it well? Hey, guess what? Are they saying, you know what? He botched that, but he was humble enough to say, you know what? I messed up. And
Right.
he was humble enough to come back and apologize to this person or that person. Man, wow, that guy is full of grace. He's full of humility. So I want us to really think about being Christ's ambassadors. Listen to what he says, and I'll wrap it up because I know, Mark, you jumped at the bit to probably say something, right? He says, "We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making His appeal through us." All right? We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. All right? So the question is, when people see your life, do they see the grace of Christ? Do they see the love of Christ? Do they see the compassion of Christ? Do they see self-righteousness? Do they see someone who says, "I'm better than you"? Or do they see someone who's willing to love them, serve them, meet them where they are, but at the same time preach the truth to them?
Absolutely.
So the question is, what are they saying? Are we representing Him? When they see us and they say, "Oh, that's what a Christian's like," what do they see?
Yeah, and you meet people all the time in this country that say they came here because they met an ambassador of the United States and wanted to come to this country because of what they represented and presented. And that's the question is, do people want to come to Christ because of what you represent? You are the only Jesus, the only Bible, the only version of heaven uh, uh, that many people are going to see, and do you represent in such a way that it makes people want to be where you are, or be a citizen of heaven as you are and who you represent? So, hey, Scotty, tell our listeners where they can find you, sir.
Absolutely. www.blueprint-palooza.com. You can send me a message there, and it comes straight to my email.
All right, that's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries, presented by Johnson and Marshall Dentistry, giving you a smile that'll last a lifetime. Thank you, sir. We'll catch up with you next week. All right. Thanks, X-Man. Thanks for holding on, X. X's and O Sports. We'll catch up with you on tomorrow, right? We'll be back.
Sir, you definitely will see me again tomorrow.
All right. Check out X's and O Sports on all major social media platforms. For the Martin Houston Show, all the callers and shadows, remember this: trust in the Lord. Always lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.